Welcome to Under the Alder Tree. I am your host, Shellie Carter, owner and founder and published speaker of Alder Healing Center. Here we provide education, training, thought provoking messages, and healing for the body, mind, and spirit. The topic of today's conversation is the role our subconscious plays, and does it really play a role in our life? So, a lot of my clients, when they come in, they will share that sometimes their responses to things that happen in life, it's like, why did I respond this way? Or what happened that I got so angry? And so, it begins that place of discovery. My guest today is Dr. G. Rex Kruhly. He's an author, a sensei, international distance healer. Dr. Kruhly is the founder of Depth Healing. So, welcome to our program.
Hello, and thanks so much for having me on, Shellie. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. So, in getting to know Dr. Kruhly, can I call you Grant?
Yeah, of course, of course.
So, as the founder of Depth Healing, well, before we even get into that, if you can share, because you have a very, I'll say, eclectic background in how you were raised and all of that type of thing. So, and then there was a part in your life where you broke your back. So, would you be willing to share a little bit about your life with us here?
Sure. And which part are you interested in, so I can steer it in the right direction?
Sure. Well, you got to where you're at in life for a particular reason. You've done things at an early age that most people would never think of doing. And so, if you can share with the audience what led you on that path, what drew you to do the things that you did at that young age.
By the age of 3, for some reason, I already knew what I was supposed to do. I used to draw pictures of it, actually, and it had to do with establishing or helping world peace. And for a 3-year-old, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Most 3-year-olds aren't thinking about world peace or saving the planet. So I came into this life with a mission, and I was, I never did well in school, and that continued. I mean, when I was an older man and became a doctor and everything, I was always a top student, but as far as grades go. But in any case, by the age of 13, I was doing my own training. My entryway into what we could call the pathway was martial craft. So I was studying like karate by the age of 13. By the age of 19, I was a recognized professional in Yoshinkai Aikido. And I became the apprentice of a great master, Kushida Sensei. I'm from Canada, he was in America. And I've been training 43 years now in classical samurai education, and I have over 50,000 hours of training. So
Wow.
I became one of North America's greatest Aikido teachers, and I built a big, huge dojo many years later in California. It was called the Dosatsuken Dojo, and so my younger years, I never had girlfriends or anything till I was 27. I trained 5-6 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But then when I was 27 and I was going to move to Japan to continue studying there as what we called an uchideshi. I was an uchideshi for 8 years, which means I was Kushida Sensei's personal protege. And that's like a kind of it's an old, very difficult old style training. Even in Japan nowadays, there's almost no uchideshis left because it's so difficult. But I did it for 8 years and I loved it. But when I was just about to leave for Japan, when I was 27, my back broke in half in a weight training accident. at the University of Windsor. And
Wow.
that sort of changed things. And I never made it to live in Japan. I was supposed to live there for 5 years.
Wow.
So, and then I was able to heal my back with no operations. I broke L5 right in half. The pedicles, I broke both pedicles in half, and the entire spinal column slid forward to the edge of my sacral promontory. So it's pretty bad. And, but I was able to heal that in 12 weeks. After I got adjusted, I got a chiropractic adjustment, and the spine fell into place, or
Wow.
roughly into place. And then I
Uh-huh.
used meditation and quantum physics and healed my back completely. And that was validated by CAT scans at Providence Hospital in Michigan.
Wow, that's amazing. And so is that where you founded Depth Healing? Was that spawned from your healing and your journey through?
Well, no, depth healing. I've been studying a total of 50 years now, and depth healing is an outgrowth that occurs now. So during the time that I broke my back, by the time I was, I encountered my first top level healer in Windsor when I was 16. And because when I was training, I trained really hard, and I had quite a few serious injuries through the years. And that brought me into contact at age, I think, 20 or 21 with Dr. George Goodhart Jr., who is while he was alive, probably one of the greatest doctors that ever lived. He founded applied kinesiology. So he was a genius. And I was with Dr. Goodhart for, I don't know, 19 years or so. And so I had encountered a great master healer and doctor, right? And then that led me to meet a great many other great master doctors and healers through the years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I led a fairly prestigious martial career. I trained the boys from the Special Forces, SWAT,
Wow,
Force Recon. I worked with a lot of Marines. You know, I'm the real deal. It's not.
that's impressive.
It was pretty cool, and I got to work with. I did a lot of professional development for Silicon Valley execs. All this stuff happened at my dojo in California, but
Wow.
in 2000, I closed the dojo, and I went on to become a doctor. So I did 7 years of Chiro Med School, and I got my license and everything. And so I was licensed as a doctor in Texas. I got my license in Texas, and I was licensed in Georgia and Tennessee. But through the years, over time, I encountered, I also led, at the same time I'm doing all of that, I had a very profound spiritual background and a lot of heavy duty experience there. And that led me to combine the two. And then eventually at the end of 2012, I encountered Diksha or oneness, what I'll explain later as Diksha. That's a game changer. And also in 2007, the beginning of depth healing happens because I met a great master doctor, maybe the greatest of the field there is, Dr. Larry Habersky, who was the top student of Ted Morter, and Ted Morter founded BEST, bioenergetic synchronization technique. And I got to meet him and do one seminar with him. He was also one of the greatest of the greats. So Larry Habersky, I apprenticed under Larry Habersky for 8 full years, and he imparted to me the quantum physics methodology that later has been turned into depth healing. Because the difference was the normal science of bioenergetic synchronization technique requires you to touch the person and be physically there. And
Right.
then my clients started being all over the world, and I needed a methodology I needed to understand how to transfer things through the field so I can take care of them. And that led me to develop depth healing, that combined with Diksha.
Yeah.
Diksha has
Okay.
to do with consciousness, specifically consciousness. That's what Diksha does. And it's the main game changer. And then my quantum technology or quantum surgery that works in the mind to remove what we call cognitive dissonance between the subconscious mind that's ruling your life. It rules everything, and your educated brain, the frontal cortex here.
Hmm. So
That's what.
what is the role? What would you say is the role of this that the subconscious plays in our life, and how important is it really?
It's virtually everything. The new science now they understand it really well. Folks like myself use it to heal people, and the media uses it to destroy or control people. So here's the way the subconscious. Here's the way your life runs, and there are no exceptions. The only exception to this rule that I'm about to explain to you is when you see someone who is enlightened. An example of those, there's only a few people like that, so they're easy to find. Eckhart Tolle is an enlightened person.
Hmm.
The Dalai Lama is an enlightened person.
Yeah.
And Sri Amma Bhagavan, the great avatar in India, they're beyond enlightened. So anyway, let me explain a little bit about subconscious mind. And these are all facts, folks. There's no disputing any of this. This is just normal neurologic science now. The frontal cortex right here is the part of your brain that you identify as yourself. And it's your ideas and dreams and your education and all the things you're going to do and not do and so forth. And but it's very, very weak. It's only active 1 to 5% of the day. 1 to 5%. A very conscious person nowadays, it's active 5% of the day, and a lot of people are only 1% of the day.
Wow.
It only processes 30 bits of information a second. The subconscious mind is 1 million times stronger. It processes 30 million bits of information per
That's a
second.
lot of bits.
It's yes, and it's active 95 to 97% of the day. The way the subconscious mind is are programs. It's just programs, and the way we're designed to survive and adapt to our environment and so forth is subconscious mind begins its formation for you when some people say 3 months of gestation. I will tell you that it starts the moment your father's sperm enters mom's egg. Okay. So an example of what I mean by that energetically was the fertilization of the egg in an accident, in a rape, in a was it planned, was it wanted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those energies all are going in because everything we're talking about here, the only thing there is energy, right?
Right.
So an energy encodes information. So
It
then you
does.
go through gestation, and when you the subconscious mind is forming very powerfully all through that time. And then when you're born and up to about the to do this in a simplified way, up to the age where you turn 7. Okay, that's the primary program, primary. And then at the age of 7, the human brain makes a shift from a theta brainwave pattern to a alpha brainwave pattern. And at that time, the brain starts to actually think and so forth. Before that, it does not. Even if you think it is, it's not. And Then from the age of 7 to about age 14 is the secondary program. So those two programs form the basis and filters for everything you see, think, say, do, taste, touch, any way you experience anything. If you read something, it all is going through the filters of that big computer program. So you can't, nothing avoid, and there's no avoidance of that. And then that ties into genetics. Now that we know genetics doesn't mean anything at all, the only thing that matters and the only controlling factor is epigenetics. So what is epigenetics? The great genius microbiologist Bruce Lipton, who I recommend to everybody. He's the founder and really the discoverer of epigenetics. And epigenetics is just energy, it's signal transduction. It means that the outside energy signals that are coming in make cause our genes to express whatever they're going to express, and that's a big long topic. I can talk to you for many days on that. But the fundamental thing to understand, folks, is nowadays they'll still try to tell you in the medical profession, they'll say you have a gene encodes for a cancer. It doesn't mean anything at all. You only have about 21,000 genes, but you have 150,000 proteins. You're made out of 150,000 different proteins. Every single protein requires one gene to make it, but you only have 21,000 genes and 150,000 proteins. So how does that work? What they know now is every single gene we have has 30,000 options. 30,000. So
Options?
if you have,
What does that mean when you say options?
option mean if it has a thing that encodes for, say, lung cancer, it has 29,000 other choices that it can express. It doesn't ever have to express the lung cancer at all. So so the signal transduction and the epigenetics, I control for all of that with depth healing. I take care of all, like if you have a program, in the audience right now, I'm sure there's lots of people who have been trying to do something for a long time and somehow it just never happens. They try and try and try, and then they might even get close and then it crashes.
Yeah.
Or they try to lose weight and they have all the knowledge and they've done all the studies and they're really motivated. They start and then it crashes or whatever. All that's happening there is the frontal cortex has got an idea and the subconscious mind has another idea. So this one, it has the power of 1 and the subconscious mind has the power of 1,000,000. So the only way you're going to go forward is if the subconscious mind is on the same page as your conscious educated brain. And that's what I do. I remove the dissonance, the argument, and I use quantum physics to do that with frequencies. And then all of a sudden, everything starts working.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Yeah.
Then I tie it through.
It becomes much clearer.
Say that again?
I said, and it becomes much clearer. Like when there's clarity, things seem to work a lot better.
Yes, well, of course, because what happens is clarity is when we're more tied in here in the present moment, and the sides of the brain, the parietal lobes, we call parietal lobes, these areas of the brain are responsible for worry, anxiety, all of the stories that we get caught up in. Mm-hmm. And the problem with the stories are they're all interwoven with emotions and all kinds of things. And what happens is we get lost in the story, we get tied up with all the emotions, and it's just this big soup. So if I start pruning away those things, if I shut off, let's say we have a lady that has, or a man who's had a lot of emotional abuse. If that happens, that's in their field. Because it's in their field, it affects their vibe. So the law of resonance, or a lot of people know it as law of attraction, that is the primary law of the universe, and it's called the law of resonance. It just means that if you have a vibration of 10, everything that also vibrates at 10, people, places, and things you're gonna find each other.
Yeah.
If you're vibrating at a 10 and something is vibrating at a 5, you don't find each other. It doesn't, it's like, it's strata, different levels. They pass each other in the night, like ships in the night, they don't know.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say that, like two ships passing in the night.
Yeah, yeah. So what I do see, if we change the brain, and like you say, you start to get clarity, you start to become more authentic, all of the different voices of all the different personalities that we have, they start to go away, and the authentic you starts to show up. And that brings clarity of feeling, clarity of values, clarity of everything. And then that is a particular vibration. Let's say that's a vibration of 20. So now if I shut off the vibrations of abuse, if I just evaporate them out of you completely, all of a sudden your vibe goes way up. If
Yeah.
it was down because you were hurt, right? So let's say we got a little boy, little girl, she's really hurt. I shut that stuff off, her vibes goes way up. When her vibe goes way up, her world changes. Her
Yeah.
physiology changes, her world changes, everything changes.
Yeah. That's
That's
awesome.
how it works.
Yeah. So, when you're in session with your clients, and some I think you are in person with, most of it is over the phone. What are your sessions like? Like length of time? What could somebody expect if they were going to work with you?
Okay, that's a good question. So basically, I do everything. My folks are all over the world, and I
Yeah.
I do it like this on Skype because I want to see their face, and I tie into their field easier that way.
Okay.
Then what I do is my sessions take 2 hours. Why? The trick with working with the quantum field and the subconscious. Think of the subconscious like a giant, the size of the Pacific Ocean, and we have and it's like a big black sea, and we're looking for something in the ocean from top to bottom, the whole thing, right? And we have a little flashlight, got a little pen light. Can you see that thing? Yeah. So we're looking for something. We got to shut off a number of things so that this person, my client, isn't suffering anymore, or their business starts working, or they need to heal the relationship with their kids, or whatever. It doesn't make any difference what I deal with, whether it's cancer or whether it's a business deal. It doesn't make any difference. This kind of work does it all, but we got to find it. So what I do, I spend about 1 hour getting all the information I can about everybody and everything involved in their life
Mhm.
now, when they're seeing me, what the issues are now. And then I go back and I've got to see what happens with mom and dad and siblings and lovers and everything. And then what I do is, with my technology, I'm able to take that entire collective, all of them, everybody, everything, and I shut it off. Just like popping little bubbles and soap bubbles. Because you
Yeah.
see, memories and things, it's not like it's pieces of paper with information in your head. All it is, folks, is little photons of light that are held together in an electromagnetic field. Brain, it's not like the physical thing at all. So when I use a particular frequency, it interferes with that little field, and that specific problem is gone. As long as I get them all, it's gone. It's history, and then everything changes because your brain changes. That changes your brain, which changes your perception, because your perception's filtering through the subconscious. So I'm changing that. I'm deleting things out of the subconscious. Your perception then changes. When that changes your vibration.
Yeah.
And then that changes your physiology and your world.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Well, yes, you make sense to me. I think it's spoken in a way that the audience will get it. And even with my experience with you, it's the work that we've done has been, as we've gone through certain steps and processes, things that I've been through are a faint memory if I remember it all, or if I remember it, there's no charge to it. So it's
That's
been
right.
really great working with you. So that's part of what can be experienced by some of the work that Dr. Grant does. And then you're more alive and vibrant, and just your whole life begins to shift in a positive direction. Not that there aren't things to possibly work through, but it's pretty amazing.
Thank you, sweetheart. Well, I'll share with the audience two different little scenarios so you can get an idea of the scope of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Just recently, I have a really lovely client who had conquered cancer without the medical route. Okay, and she's actually going to make a movie about her experience.
Wow.
Well, anyway, one day, just a little while ago, she just shares with me that she's bleeding and bleeding a lot, and I was alarmed. Of course, I said, "How long have you been bleeding?" She says, 3 months. So being an internal bleeding, every time she goes to the bathroom, she's filling up the toilet with blood.
Yeah.
And I have her testimony for this, so I have her permission to be able to discuss this without giving her name. In any case, I was concerned. So I asked the field right away, is this cancer? And the answer is no. And now I'm in Thailand and she's in America.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, is it cancer? Answer is no. And then I asked the question, can I fix this? And the answer is yes. And then I asked the question, how many sessions do I need to stop this bleeding? And she answer was 3 sessions. So I did 3 days in a row, and the bleeding stopped 100%. No other medicine, no other doctor, no nothing. So how do I do that? Well, the first thing I did was I checked through her field. What is this? And it's like a rift, like a little open cut somewhere in her large or small intestine. So then I said, what's causing the cut? What is it? The cause is severe stress over her career. She's very, very worried about it, about making the movie. So I eliminate, first and foremost, you must eliminate the cause of the disease or the cause. If you have cancer, it doesn't make any difference. I've had cancer. It doesn't make any difference about cutting something out. You have to eliminate the cause. All these things, when something happens in your body or in your life, it's only a message. If you get the message, it goes away.
Yeah.
If you don't get if you cut a cancer out and you don't get the message, why it came there in the first place, it just comes back. So I eliminate the cause first and take out her stress, take out the worry, cut it all off, shut it off. Then I use frequencies I use 3 different frequencies to go into her intestine. So anyway, I just sealed it up and shut it off. And that's quantum physics in action. Now, in another case, I have many clients, and they have, like, say, their life is stuck and it can't go forward. It's very common right now. They just can't get it going. And it'll typically always be right in their usually secondary program, age 7 to 14. I shut those things off and I heal them up, and then their life starts flowing, and they get the job, or they get everything just starts working, because all I did was change the way they're perceiving things by shutting off the negatives.
And it really makes that big of a difference. Dr. Grant, thank you for being on our show today. It's been great having you here.
Oh, it's been my honor. It's been my honor, honey.
Thank you. So here at Alder Healing Center, we pride ourselves on assisting you through your journey to health, well-being, and inner peace. Let our amazing staff guide you to a center and fulfilling life of purpose and good health. Make an appointment today by calling 630-328-3928. We are located in Lombard, 929 South Main Street, Suite 101. Your health and well-being depends on your willingness to be in action today. Now, to find out how you can reach Dr. Grant, his information will be on the screen shortly. I am Shellie Carter, your host. We will see you under the alder tree real soon.